Colours are everywhere. They're everywhere we look, so they're boring, right? Wrong. You see, the closer you look, the more interesting colours get. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the really fascinating things about colour. We're going to start with my favourite colour, red. It's the colour of blood and love and anger. The ancient Egyptians thought that red was the colour of victory, so they used to dress up in red every time they won a battle. Most of the red we see today comes from cochineal, which is made from the crushed up shells of beetles. Unfortunately, the beetles have to die first, which is pretty sad. But then again, I guess there's enough of them to go around. Red's a really important colour for politics too. In the 20th century, red became the colour of revolution. From Cuba to Russia to Vietnam, all across the world people raised the red flag of communism to rebel against their corrupt masters. This flag was red, with a hammer and a sickle in the middle to show the power of the people who actually did the work. Some communist countries still have red on their flags today, like China. Have you heard of the red planet? That's Mars, the fourth planet in our solar system. If you look at it at night, it looks red, and that's because of the red rusted iron in its soil. In fact, the Romans used to call it the god of war because it looked so angry. Did you know that colours are used to heal us? Chromotherapy is an alternative therapy where light or colour is used to treat people's illnesses. Practitioners believe that our body has 7 chakras along your spine, each one representing a different colour. If they become imbalanced, then treating the patient with colour can help. Unfortunately, scientists have proven that chromotherapy is absolutely false, even though some people still spend thousands of pounds on it. Colours are cool, but they can't cure the common cold. Fireworks are amazing, and nowadays they come in every shape and colour. But how do they make fireworks come out green, blue and red, not just normal yellowy explosion colour? Well, the key is with metal. Different metals burn at different colours. Barium chloride powder, for example, is green. Pop some barium in your firework and it'll burn bright green. For blue, use copper acetoarsenite. Add some red strontium carbonate for red. It's a well-known fact that chemists have the best fireworks parties. My favourite rock band of all time, the Beatles, had a close relationship with colour. John, Paul, George and Ringo dressed up in amazing colours for their most famous album cover of all time, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. But after touring together and living together for years, they began to fall out. Soon, they would record their parts of each song alone in the studio, so they never had to actually meet face to face. Unfortunately, this didn't make for a very good sound. With one of their last albums, they couldn't even agree to a name or an album cover. It ended up being called The Beatles and had no cover at all. Just blank white space where the image should be. We now call it the White Album, and it's really, really bad. In 2003, the rapper called Jay-Z released the Black Album, in homage to the Beatles' White Album. 3 years later, a DJ called Danger Mouse mixed Jay-Z's vocals with the Beatles' backings. Just like black and white makes grey, he called it the Grey Album. Green is the colour of envy. Shakespeare described the feeling of envy as the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. Some people say that if you see somebody else with something you want, your eyes flash green. But green has a positive meaning too. It's the colour of nature, grass, trees, plants, dragons. All of these things, except for the dragon, contain a chemical called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is really important because plants use it to make their own food. Wish I could do that. Blue is the colour of the sky, but have you ever asked yourself, why is the sky blue? Well, our atmosphere is made of air, and when the sun's out, a massive amount of light shines through and is scattered by the tiny molecules in the air. Bear with me. The scattering of light splits the colours just like a rainbow, and when the sun's above us, the blue part of the light is scattered downwards, right into our eyes, so we see the blue. During a sunset, the sun is much lower. The sun still scatters blue downwards, but red sideways, so that's what we see. So during a sunset, the sky doesn't change colour, we just see a different part of it. Weird, right? So that's the end of my rainbow tour of colour. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. And if you take colours for granted, just remember, dogs are colourblind, so count your lucky stars you're not one of them, eh?